I am.
So my name is Kenneth and my topic is on minimum wage. So I'm going to start off by giving a quick overview of the legislation that was signed by Governor Brown. So the current policy in effect will raise the minimum wage to $15 by implementing small raises every year till the year 2022. So increasing the minimum wage will have a negative effect on California's economy. And my three secondary claims are that if we raise the minimum wage, there will be a job loss in California, it will increase the cost of living, and will have an unexpected effect on government spending and on taxes. So as we increase the minimum wage, the hardships felt by each California businesses will increase with it. To compensate for this increase of payroll, companies are forced to cut hours or even reduce the staff. And another way businesses are saving money is that they're turning to technology to save money, to get rid of low-skilled jobs, such as those self-automated checkout stations instead of cashiers. They're having more ATMs instead of bank tellers, and the automotive industry is also turning into new robotics that require less human maintenance. Companies are also just leaving California altogether because it is cheaper to relocate than continue working here. So overall, due to these three main reasons, it is estimated that 5 million jobs will be lost by the year 2020, according to Ivana Kutsova, reporter from CNN. So as we raise the minimum wage, all the companies will feel the sting, but the locally and family-owned businesses will be hit the hardest. So these good quality jobs will be forced to close the door because they will lose their competitive edge to the larger corporations such as the Walmarts. So now these big corporations, they will still be able to pay for the minimum wage, so we'll still have their jobs, but they won't have the same loyalty to the community that we have. So they'll keep wages as low as legally possible. They will cut hours to keep workers at part-time, so they don't have to apply benefits, and there's hardly any career advancements. So the current minimum wage right now is at $10 an hour, and that is tied for the second highest in the nation. California has the sixth highest cost of living per person. It is trailed by New York, New Jersey, and Washington, D.C. So those four states have the four highest minimum wage, and they're all in the top 5 for cost of living. And all of that is according to Paul Davidson from the USA Today. And there's an estimated 3.5% inflation that is noted every year. There's a quarter with an increase in minimum wage. So that means under this current legislation, for the next 6 years, there will be an estimated 3.5% inflation annually. Also, when the prices go up, the cost of living will increase. So California is currently in the top 10% for unemployment, and it also has the highest state debt in the nation. It's $617.6 billion, is twice as much debt as any other state has, according to the Huffington Post. And as we increase the minimum wage, it will also devastate the middle class. So these people that are living 1 or 2 paychecks higher than the current minimum wage, they won't see an increase in their hourly wage, but they'll see all the prices of everything, the goods, the services, they will all go up. So under this new legislation, the California's Department of Finance states that there will be an increase of $3.6 billion to the added government payroll. So now this increase in payroll is only counting the jobs that are currently funded by the government that are on minimum wage right now that will have to increase its hourly pay, such as school custodians, bus drivers, social and health workers. And so raising the minimum wage in effect will be a good theory because California has the most recipients on welfare throughout the whole nation. So if we have more jobs with higher wages, that means more money to the people. People have less stress. There's less stress to support your family, and there's more money flowing through the economy to help stimulate business. But we don't live in a theoretical world, and the only way California, who has twice twice as much debt as any other state in the nation is going to be able to pay for this increase in payroll is by raising taxes on everybody. So raising the minimum wage is a short-term answer for a long-term problem. Low unskilled jobs will be lost due to forced budget cuts, cost of living will rise, and new taxes will need to be created. It creates a never-ending cycle where a direct correlation of minimum wage and debt due to cost of living go hand in hand. The benefits of raising the minimum wage are deemed useless by the loss of jobs it will create, and it will increase the cost of living and the increase in government spending and taxes.
All right, Kenneth, the proposition is presented at the beginning, but you almost bury it because you're kind of rushing through this recap of Brown's legislation, and you don't really specify that that is the proposition, although I was listening for it, so it came out pretty clearly. There's a good preview of the supporting structure, so that was good. That's laid out well. But in the body of the speech, I don't think you're as careful about signposting the supporting claims, and the second two especially run together a little bit. So I know that there's a relationship between them, but I do think that they're independent points rather than interdependent points, and that you want to make sure that people know that they are distinct claims. I thought you did a good job explaining the concepts of everything that you're talking about. Sometimes, though, there's a lot of presupposition built into the argument, and you haven't provided evidence to support those points. Some places you had some good information. So the number of jobs, you had a source for that. The cost of living increase, you had a statistic on that, 3.5%, but I didn't really know if that was the same source that you'd cited before or if it was a different source of information. So you want to be careful about your citations and make sure that they're relatively clear. There's a whole bunch of stuff about the devastation of the middle class based on this, and I think that that needs a lot more evidence than you've got on that in the argument at this particular point. But you got good factual data about what the minimum wage is, about California's debt. You got hypotheticals about businesses going to other types of employment, ATMs and self-service checkout and that sort of thing. I don't doubt that that's true, but it would be nice if you had an example or if you had somebody who said that from any of these companies, and then it would be, I think, a bit more convincing. I thought you had a pretty good summary at the end of the speech also. All right, thank you.